September 19th. And I'd like to start with a story. 7-year-old child in school, packing his bags. Tired, long day. Can't wait to leave like any other kid in school. On his way out the door, teacher handed him a note in a sealed envelope. Told him, you take this home to your mother right now. Well, he was excited. He ran. He didn't walk home. He ran home. Got to his mother, handed her the envelope, sat down, gingerly took it out, and she read the note. Your son is a genius. Our school is too small. We do not have the staff or the facilities to teach him. You must teach him yourself. Tears flowed down her face, and she made a commitment. Oh, a solid commitment. She was going to teach her son. She was going to homeschool him, and he would be great after all. He was a genius. And every day she taught him reading and writing and arithmetic. And every day she reminded him, I believe you. I know you're going to make it. After all, you're a genius. This continued every single year. And you know something? Sooner or later, this kid started to believe in himself. Isn't that a miracle? Tell someone you believe in them, and they begin to believe in themselves. He was an old man when he started to go through his books and records for his own estate plan. And guess what he found? The old note from school. Still in the original envelope, stuck in the corner of the desk. And he took out the note, just for nostalgic purposes, and he read it. There is not a person here who could possibly imagine what he was feeling when he read that letter. Impossible. The letter read, your son is retarded. Our school is too small. We do not have the staff or facilities to teach him. You must teach him yourself. He is expelled. Do you imagine how he felt when he read that letter? He was already in his 80s. And he read that. And he realized that his mother, because she believed in him, made him a genius. Is there magic in believing? That's the question that every one of you. Is there magic in believing? Ah, yes. The retarded kid from Milan, Ohio, was named Thomas Alva Edison. There is magic in believing. Our first speaker knows a little bit about the magic of believing. She is now serving her 4th term as mayor of Clinton, New Jersey. Folks, the 4th term. That's not easy to do now, is it? She, in that time, was president of the New Jersey League of Municipalities. She was director of the New Jersey Division on Women. She was co-founder of the Rivertown Film Festival. She was chair of the Hudson County Film Commission. She was appointed to the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission by Governor Murphy in 2019. She is an advocate of public service. She is an advocate of the arts. She's an advocate of women in leadership positions in politics and business. And she is a walking testament to the passion of a leader. Janice Kovach, get up here.
Thank you. I really appreciate that introduction. How many people remember like waking up on a Friday and going, oh, thank God it's Friday? It is now every day is Monday, right? Like as I was preparing for today, this week kind of became overwhelming. Everything I was thinking I was going to talk about, I'm like, oh, maybe we won't talk about that. Oh, maybe we won't talk about that. But I think what I really want to kind of focus on, I want to talk a little bit about New Jersey and the amazing stuff that's happening in the film industry. I want to talk about, the merging of government and film and what can happen. But I think we can't miss an opportunity to kind of look at what's happening and where we're at right now. And the fear is because of what's happening and the censorship that people are feeling. How is that going to impact us going forward? I have been watching everything as it goes along, and this is not Republican, this is not Democrat. We are in a place right now where some of us are losing our very rights. I look at things that have happened over the last, 8-10 years, and I came in as mayor in 2012. It was kind of quiet. Things were just moving along. Everything was great. You had some discourse, but social media was just kind of making its way there. Then in 2017, after the presidential election, and again, this isn't political, but you saw a uprising of individuals who were not happy with how the election had gone, and they were out there. And that trickled down into local government. I have 2,700 people in my town. It's not Democrat, Republican, because we all pick up trash the same way, we all fill potholes the same way. But it became political. And the conversations were getting more and more intense. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse, we had the pandemic hit us. And that was a complete and utter chaos for so many. So anyone that knows local government, we were still in the 1700s in how we did things. We still took cash payments for your taxes or for your water bill. All of a sudden, we had to go, and we made it to the 19th century. Maybe the 20th, not quite the 21st yet. So you talked about government going from the 1700s, pivoting in literally months. So it shows that we can do it. And I had done, a friend of mine runs TEDx Water Street, and he's like, I want you to do a TEDx for me. Like, okay, what's the conversation? This was it was supposed to be in 20. Obviously, nothing happened in 20, so they moved it to 21. And the whole theme was reset. And what was interesting is we all saw during the pandemic how everyone came together. In the city, you saw people coming out at 7 o'clock doing music from their windows, right? They were playing music, they were entertaining one another. In our town, we were putting teddy bears in our windows, and kids were walking by homes and were writing down as part of their school assignment as they were outside, whose homes had teddy bears, who had the best teddy bear. I had the best teddy bear because I had a 3-foot teddy bear in my window. So, it was a competition amongst all of us elected officials. We tend to compete on everything. And as we were coming out of it, I was looking at doing my TEDx, and the reset was we had really come together as a society. We had worked together to, figure out how we were going to navigate this. You had parents teaching their kids. You had dogs. I never saw so many dogs in my entire life. Everyone got dogs. But but we were on a precipice, right? And I can say this here because y'all know the movie, The Matrix. I say it to some kids and they look at me like I have 10 heads. It's the red pill or the blue pill, right? We take the blue pill, we go back to the way things used to be. Yeah, it was all kind of good, it was kind of quiet. We take the red pill and we have this opportunity to reimagine and redefine what our communities are going to be. And I was hoping that everyone was going to take that red pill and join me. Well, I want to take that blue pill, I want to go back now. Because it didn't happen that way. You saw it for a little while. 21, you kind of saw people still kind of staying together. 22, now everyone's afraid of everything. And either side, get the vaccine, not get the vaccine. That's a personal decision. I don't need anyone telling me what I should or shouldn't be doing. But you had people on both sides, and it wasn't a civil discourse. It was a constant, you were at one another. You couldn't have a conversation with someone that disagreed with you. So I will admit I am a Democrat. My husband is a Republican. So you can imagine what some of our conversations are like. But yet we tried to emulate, especially for our children, who were teens at the time, what we wanted them to be able to talk about. We wanted them to be educated in whatever decisions they made. Social media, Facebook, does not give you the news. And the algorithms of any social media are, if you watch a video in one thing, it now goes, oh, this is what you like, right? And that algorithm continues to feed you that same narrative rather than looking across the board. So for me, it is important that we have discourse. We have conversations. We can agree to disagree. My husband and I disagree frequently. But we also know that ultimately, as long as we can talk through it, he may change my mind on some things, I may change his mind. And how does that tie in, right? So you think about where we are and the entertainment space, right? Storytelling. I started the film festival in 2017 because people were so angry. And we're like, you know what, if you bring movies, people love movies, right? Like, it doesn't really matter what side of the aisle you were on. As long as you enjoyed watching a movie, you could all come together. You could disagree on whether you like the movie or not. Like, I love rom-coms, my husband hates them. Okay, fair enough, I get it. But he'll sit and watch it with me because he knows that I enjoy it. So we had done the film festival, and it was amazing that we brought people together, people who I would have never thought, who dislike me as mayor because of my politics nationally, were there. And they were usually the first ones to buy tickets. And they were there for the entire festival. They loved it. They engaged. They loved having the filmmakers there to talk to them. So that storytelling was important because it helped talk about kind of some of the stuff that was going on. Some of the topics were, one of them was dealing with PTSD and a Vietnam War vet. And how do you deal with that? We had another one who was dealing with breast cancer. These were all community issues that impact us as a community. It may not impact me directly, but it impacts someone in my family. We had one that talked about domestic violence. Again, understanding what that is helps you make educated decisions. So we had done all of that. Now, obviously, we haven't done the festival in a couple of years because we've just, funding and resources. It was two of us that were doing it, and then probably a handful of volunteers. And we keep talking about trying to bring it back, but what we do is we make sure we push other festivals. Because again, that narrative, that telling the story is so important. I was up in Toronto 2 weeks ago now for the Toronto International Film Festival, and we had gotten tickets. We went to see Nuremberg. So again, everyone saw Oppenheimer, I would imagine. Like, how could you not? Same kind of feeling. The casting was phenomenal. The storytelling is so important because you can watch the Nuremberg trials on YouTube, the actual trials. It's hard to understand what's going on. We all saw it in history class. We watched the videos. But this was the story as it was told by from the perspective of the psychiatrist who interviewed them and worked with them before the trials. And when you follow, you see a lot of what happened then kind of start to creep into what we're seeing now. You know, government's taking a role in what we watch, how we watch, and telling private entities what they should and should not put on. So, does anybody watch Jon Stewart?
Yeah.
All right, did you see Jon Stewart last night?
Yes.
So it was a parody on state-sponsored television. And it was an extreme parody of it, but it was true because that's kind of what you're seeing. And as storytellers, that's not what that's about. Storytelling should be about telling the truth, telling the story that is important, not telling a story that someone thinks you should be hearing. You know, I used to work with an organization called Honor Diaries. And it was a group of women that had come together, and they had done a documentary on honor killings. So, especially in India, if you know your forced arranged marriages, and arranged marriages can be as early as 12. And if you do not, you're either ostracized, or in some cases, your family will murder you because you've dishonored them. And once you have dishonored them, then something has to happen. And the documentary kind of talks about one of the women who's in it, started an organization called Karma Nirvana. And what she does is she is a hotline for young women who are going into forced marriages, have been in forced marriages, are victims of abuse. And she started it because her older sister, was forced to marry and was abused horribly by her husband. And the only way she could get out of this, and this is really dark for a Friday morning, and I apologize, was to set herself on fire. And she killed herself that way because that was the only way she could honorably leave the marriage and not dishonor her family. So all of these things are kind of going on. And when we don't know everything, and we hear only one side, you don't have to agree with the other side, but listen to the other side. You know, it is about understanding. We have two senators in New Jersey, Senator Cryan and Senator Bramnick, who are doing a civility discourse tour through college campuses. So they're going onto college campuses because they are complete opposites of one another, and showing students how to have a conversation when you disagree, and not make it about violence. Because, you know, the purpose of now stifling and censoring is because it's going to stop the violence. It's not going to stop the violence. The violence will continue. And until we all understand it, it's going to be much harder. You know, I know a lot of it is, well, it doesn't impact me personally. Or I don't know anyone that's being impacted by it. Your neighbor, someone you may not know but in your community, is being impacted by everything that's going on. And if we don't become a part of making sure there's opportunity, and again, both sides need to have a seat at the table in order for that to happen. Now, on to the fun part. You know, I felt it was important to kind of talk about that. I don't think that we talk about it enough. I think it becomes taboo in a lot of cases, and especially when you don't want to offend anyone. And I don't mean to offend anyone here in any way, shape, or form, but everyone should be thinking about where we are, because film right now is a piece of this, and film is our escape. You know, how many times I love going to the movies. You know, sitting in the movie theater and enjoying a movie with a bunch of other people. We saw Good Fortune with Seth Rogen and Keanu Reeves, so you can imagine what that was like. The entire thing, you're just laughing. But it felt good to laugh after being in a position where I didn't feel like I was laughing. You know, I'm as mayor, my phone is never turned off. So I take phone calls any time of the day or night, whether I'm on vacation or not, because the person calling, it's important to them. May not be important to me. My favorite is when I get the call at midnight, power went out. Okay, let me run down the basement, I'll flip that switch for you. But they know I know who to call so that I can get an answer. And that's, as public servants, that's what we're supposed to be doing. This is not, I'm not here for myself in any way, shape, or form. Although I will tell you a short story. I wanted to be an actress as a kid, but I had a theater teacher tell me I can't sing, dance, or act. So politics was really the best way for me to get the stage and a microphone. So you're all stuck listening to me? But that is, when people are reaching out, they're asking for help for something, that's important to them. By the end of the week, sometimes it's overwhelming, and I'm like, okay, can I just sit for 5 minutes? But I know I can't, because something else is going to pop up that needs to get done. And that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be here telling you what you should or shouldn't watch. We are supposed to be here supporting you and providing what our communities need to make them healthy and keep them healthy. And so how do I get to film on here? Like I said, I want to be an actress. I love film. For me, that is how I help tell a story sometimes. I will share something that I've seen to kind of tie it to something that's happening. So anybody watch The Newsroom? There you go, The Newsroom. Love that show. Old, but again, today, West Wing, same thing. Those shows, when you watch them and you see those conversations that are taking place, it's like, okay, so I can kind of relate this. And again, it's relating a narrative, not a documentary, to a situation that's happening. And sometimes people are more open to that than they are to, well, did you see this, the newsreel or whatever that was out there? But when you tell a story, it's a different conversation. And New Jersey loves film. New Jersey loves the stories. I will tell you that Governor Murphy has done a phenomenal job with this. This is his legacy, is bringing film back to New Jersey. The birthplace of film started in Fort Lee. Very first studio was Alice Guy Blaché up in Fort Lee. And it was owned by a woman. Surprise, surprise. She eventually went out of business, and then obviously when Thomas Edison had his camera and kind of tried to strong-arm all of the studios, they moved west, better, more space, better weather is how they looked at it. Well, now they're all coming back to Jersey, and you've got Netflix coming in, you've got Lionsgate. Right now we have 72 stages in the state. 3 are purpose-built, the rest are actually warehouse conversions. And people are seeing the benefits of it. And this is such an opportunity for our economy. So yeah, the incentive is great because that's what brings the productions in, but our communities are benefiting from it. So I'll give an example. The movie Bros needed a parade scene. They filmed in Cranford, this parade scene that they did. They spent $20,000 in a local balloon store. We had Pete Davidson film for 30 days in Denville at the old, it was like a Franciscan home for the aged. Hadn't been used for a while. Obviously, it's a horror movie. 30 days they were there. They spent $500,000 on all the local businesses. That was the coffee shops. That was the restaurants. That was the gas. It was the lumber. It was the 5 and dime. They needed batteries. So go to the 5 and dime and get batteries. Those are the amazing things that are happening within our community. I mean, Brandon, you're seeing, Adam Sandler's coming in and hanging out in Jersey. And hanging out in Jersey, and hanging out in Jersey. The competition has become, where's Adam Sandler? It's not where's Waldo anymore. It's where's Adam Sandler playing basketball. We had Steven Spielberg in, again, because of what we're able to offer as a state. And it's these stories that are coming out. Anybody watch the Happy Gilmore 2? All right, thank you. I worked on that quite a bit. But it's funny, and it helps you escape for just a little bit and really, kind of take that step back so it's not a constant barrage of negativity. It's about having that opportunity to just go and to laugh at something that's stupid because, let's face it, Happy Gilmore 2 is kind of crazy. And there are no CGIs in that movie. Everything that you see was actually done on the green. The tilt-a-whirl green, the fire, the ice, all actual on that green. It's crazy. So it's so important that we keep bringing the stories to the screen, whether to the TV or to the theaters. And we need everyone to understand the importance of what film brings to our communities, whether it's local, whether it's at the state level. Happy Gilmore spent $152 million in New Jersey. That's how much money was spent locally. And we don't take into account the trash hauler that's getting paid, the company that has the signs to detour. So when you're all complaining about traffic and you're getting detoured, the signs, all of the restaurants that are getting it. Spielberg was down in Cape May County for 3 weeks. 350 people, 8 hotels, motels for 3 weeks, off season. That's keeping those businesses moving. And those are the positive things, like that's the exciting stuff that's going on. Those are the stories that I want to continue telling. But at the same time, we can't ignore what's actually happening. And knowing that we all have a responsibility to ensure that all voices are heard, even those we disagree with, even those that someone may find abhorrent, others don't. Everyone's got that opportunity. And that's really, for me, what's so important with all that I do. It's tying together my government, it's tying together the film, and advocacy. You give me a cause and that I feel strongly about, and watch out. I can make anyone absolutely crazy, and I've done it. But really, like I said, this is about, the story is about the film industry and what it's bringing and how it's coming back and what opportunities are there, not just for, those that are cast and crew, but anyone that's got a business that wants to be a part of it. We have what we call New Jersey 411. So if you have a business that you want to help out and work within the film industry, you can absolutely do that. If you want to be a background extra, there are all those too. But those are 14-hour days. I'm going to give you a heads up on that one. And the same thing with locations. You got a house, you got a business, you want to put it out there for filming, that's absolutely what we have. We've got a locations database right now, 50,000 locations, and growing every day. But other than that, like I said, I appreciate this opportunity and letting me have that little side conversation about where we are, while also talking about the amazing film industry in the state of New Jersey. So, thank you.